Ladies and gentlemen, our next focus is on one of the most damning indictments of governance in West Bengal's recent history. It has come to a point where schools across the state today are left in a limbo, left without teachers because of the crazy corruption that took place while recruiting them some 9 years ago. Ladies and gentlemen, you already know this. On Thursday, the Supreme Court of India has upheld the Calcutta High Court's verdict, cancelling the appointment of 26,000 teachers and non-teaching staff in government and government-aided schools. This happened yesterday. The Supreme Court called the 2016 recruitment process vitiated by manipulation and fraud, tainted beyond repair, and in complete violation of constitutional guarantees like equality and fairness, essentially saying that the entire process was marred with corruption. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the order, as you can expect, has sent shockwaves across West Bengal. Thousands of teachers and school staff have lost their jobs overnight. Some of them may have been part of the scam. Many of them actually were part of the scam. But many say they were honest candidates who are now paying the price for a corrupt system they never signed up for. And yet, the Supreme Court has made it clear the process was too compromised to salvage. This is a humanitarian crisis and a constitutional correction that is playing out at the same time. Meanwhile, the political storm is only intensifying today, 24 hours after the verdict. Mamata Banerjee says she respects the judiciary, but she cannot accept this judgment. She alleges that West Bengal is being selectively targeted, that this is less about justice and more about vendetta. She even questioned the neutrality of the court, the Supreme Court, citing how one Chief Justice of India in an earlier ruling actually refused to uphold, did uphold the High Court verdict and the other didn't. Just listen in to what Mamata Banerjee said.
বাংলাকে আর কত টার্গেট করবে? ঢ্যাপামের কেসে কি হয়েছে? মধ্যপ্রদেশে 50-এর ওপর লোককে খুন করা হয়েছে। কি শাস্তি হয়েছে অপরাধীদের? আমাদের এই কেসে তো সিবিআই দেন এডুকেশন মিনিস্টারকে জেলে রেখে দিয়েছেন আজকে অনেক দিন হয়ে গেল। ওই সে নিয়ে তো আমরা একটা কথাও কখনো বলিনি। তো একই অপরাধীর কবার শাস্তি হয়?
The BJP, meanwhile, is on the offensive. Bengal BJP chief Shukanta Majumdar has directly blamed Mamata Banerjee for the scam, accusing her of presiding over a government that sold jobs for bribes and betrayed the youth of Bengal. BJP Sambit Patra has even hinted that the chief minister could face legal consequences, could perhaps end up going to jail as well.
बंगाल की परिस्थिति, बंगाल का भ्रष्टाचार, बंगाल में दीदी की दादागिरी, यह आज पूरे भारतवर्ष में ही नहीं विश्व में लोग देख रहे हैं। मेरा सुप्रीम कोर्ट से भी सविनय निवेदन है कि ऐसे विषयों को सुओ मोटो उठाना चाहिए और कंटेम्प्ट ऑफ कोर्ट ममता बनर्जी और तृणमूल कांग्रेस की सरकार पर लगना चाहिए। किसी मुख्यमंत्री की हिम्मत हो सकती है ऐसे वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट के लिए कहे कि हम सुप्रीम कोर्ट के ऑर्डर को नहीं मानेंगे? दिस इज हिटलरशिप, ये होता है डिक्टेटरशिप।
राय आया है, जो वर्डिक्ट आया है, वो स्पष्ट कर देती है कि ममता बनर्जी ने जो चालाकी की थी, वो चालाकी कोर्ट के सामने पकड़ी गई। लेकिन इस जो वर्डिक्ट आया है, इस वर्डिक्ट में हमारा सिर्फ इतना ही सवाल है कि लगभग 20,000 से ऊपर लोग जिन्होंने परिश्रम करके जिनको नौकरी मिला, उनका कोई दोष होने के बावजूद उनका नौकरी जा रहा है। लेकिन टीएमसी के जो लीडर जिन्होंने पैसा लिया, पैसा लेके नौकरी बेचा, मॉल बना दिया है ममता बनर्जी ने पश्चिम बंगाल में को। जो खरीदना है आपको, टीचर खरीदना है, नौकरी खरीदना है, सैंड लेके नदी से बेचना है, जो चाहे आप कर सकते हैं, सिर्फ पैसा देना है। शॉपिंग मॉल बना के रख दिया है ममता बनर्जी पश्चिम बंगाल को।
Now, at the heart of it, remember, is a scam where crores in cash were recovered from a minister's aide, the then Education Minister's aide. Former Education Minister Partha Chatterjee and his associate Arpita Mukherjee are already behind bars. 50 crore rupees in cash was recovered from Arpita's residence. The Enforcement Directorate and the CBI have uncovered properties worth over 26 crore rupees allegedly purchased using this bribe money. So essentially, if you wanted a job as a government teacher, you needed to bribe the Education Minister and his aide, and you were ensured that you would get the post. All that money, some of it recovered in cash, the other invested in properties. With the Supreme Court verdict out, new summons could soon be issued to more top-level TMC functionaries, which is why the BJP is saying that possibly Mamata Banerjee will be the next to go to jail. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are asking, has Mamata Banerjee lost the moral mandate to govern? Is the BJP's outrage sincere or politically timed? And who failed the people of Bengal, the corrupt officials or the political system that enabled them, or the people who are actually willing to pay this bribe to get the job? And most importantly, how do we fix the broken faith in public recruitment? Let me quickly introduce my guests to you this evening. I thank all of them. Kiya Ghosh is a BJP spokesperson joining us on the broadcast. Barrister Kabir Shankar Bose is a political analyst joining us. Asif Ansari is a political analyst as well. Thank you very much. And Tehseen Poonawalla is a political analyst joining us on the broadcast as well. Let me start by the BJP spokesperson, because the BJP today has said some very provocative things. Kiya, on what basis are you saying that the Chief Minister could be the next to go to jail after Partha Chatterjee, that she was as involved in the corruption to recruit these teachers as Partha Chatterjee?
Firstly, Shreya, I'd like to tell you that Mamata Banerjee, she has lost all morality to stay in power. Why I am saying that, I'll just show you and the viewers of Mirror now a small part of the yesterday's judgment. This is a timetable, this is a table chart which has been provided in the judgment itself. It says for the role of assistant teachers for classes 9 and 10, the number of vacancies, recommended candidates, is 11,425. Whereas the number of appointment letters which were given out by the same SSCs, 12,945. So how do you explain this, Shreya? That number of vacancies are less than the number of appointment letters given out, which is almost 1,071 excess appointment letters were disbursed by the same SEC board. Now, Mamata Banerjee, yesterday I saw that she had been repeating one word, autonomous body, SSC is an autonomous body. Why she is lying, I'll tell you, because Mamata Banerjee, first, if it is an autonomous body, then why does she put all TMC MLAs and TMC leaders in such autonomous organizations? The primary selection board, who was the chairman since 2020, 11 till 2022, till his arrest, Manik Bhattacharya, who happens to be TMC MLA. And Mamata Banerjee, when the Honorable High Court as well as the Supreme Court, when they time and again, they literally begged, give us, segregate the number of legitimate job seekers and illegitimate job seekers, Mamata Banerjee's government did not let it happen. Why? Because if they would have let it happen, the number of illegitimate job seekers, the amount of huge money they paid to the government, to TMC leaders, to TMC MLAs, it would have had to return to the concerned people. So Mamata Banerjee, just to shield the corrupt people, the corrupt leaders of her own party, she had put the life and the future at stake of these 26,000 approximate job seekers. It is not 26,000. If you calculate the number of families, it's almost 1 lakh people.
Okay. Tehseen Poonawalla, would you want to come in here? I know you've been backing Mamata Banerjee on this one for quite a long time. I mean, how can the sitting chief minister of a state go and make a comment like, it is difficult for me to accept this verdict? And you will understand what I'm saying when you see that one Chief Justice of India says one thing on the matter and the other Chief Justice of India says another thing on the matter, that this is the doing of the BJP and the CPIM. Are bhai, if there is corruption and you take money to recruit people as government teachers and you get caught, It is not the problem of the BJP and the CPIM. It is not the fault of the BJP and the CPIM. It is your fault. It is a problem with
It's
your
true.
system, which was so corrupt that it spared no one.
Good evening, Shreya. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I don't agree with the West Bengal present government on most issues. And I do think that the Honorable Supreme Court's judgment should be taken. But there are a couple of questions that I would like to ask here. Why is it, with absolute respect to all our courts, and I'm not throwing allegations, the majesty of the court is the highest. For example, in Vyapam, recruitments are not cancelled. People are not, the main accused don't go in jail. This only happened, in Vyapam, 6 people actually committed suicide. Nobody's saying that the process here was not vitiated. Nobody's saying the process was not corrupt. But the CBI itself says only 4,000 people were appointments are wrong. This is CBI saying. For 4,000 people who are wrongly appointed, you're punishing 24,000 people. See, I have a principal problem. There is no consistency when it comes to different state governments. And I think that should be it should be consistent for everybody. So my advice to Mamata ji is the following. Those 4,000 that the CBI said, immediately obviously terminate them with respect to the Honorable Supreme Court's judgment. The rest 20,000, you find a way to accommodate them because they've come in clean. So you can pass an ordinance and later on pass it in the assembly, and you at least keep them. You can't ruin 20,000 lives because of a mistake of 4,000 people. That, in my opinion, you should look at. And then you can go back to the Honorable Court, perhaps in a review where they can put up this proposal, and if the court say no, then they can do it through the legislator and get it done. Because what is the fault of those 20,000 people?
Okay.
Now, it's not like all 24,000 appointments were wrong. So I think these are some things that you have to look at. Even, and I have a lot of respect for the current Honorable Chief Justice of India, I think the court should also be consistent in their judgment. What is happening is, one bench says one thing, another bench says another thing, a third bench says another thing. Then nothing is followed. Then the matter goes into a constitutional bench. Then it takes years. And these are my problems that I'm having even with the judiciary. You set one pattern, so it is set. What is true for Vyapam should be true for West Bengal. Even the BJP today, she's criticizing. Great, I have absolute respect for her. I don't like the Mamata Banerjee government. Will she say the same for Vyapam? Where how many people died? The main witness was killed. So why does that not happen out there? There the standards change. That is the issue, consistency.
Okay, but Asif Ansari, here's the point, and you're someone who is backing the Mamata Banerjee government as well. I'll try and get a counter to, what Tehseen is saying with the barrister Kabir Shankar Jha. But before that, quickly, Asif, the point is, if the Mamata Banerjee government and everyone else in West Bengal is so concerned about the teachers who are now out of a job, my point is, there are some teachers who were recruited after paying a bribe. There were some teachers who came in clean, right? We all understand that. Now, where is the list of those who are clean and those who are unclean? The Mamata Banerjee government had 1 year to make that list. Have they even made that list? No. Now Mamata Banerjee is saying, I'll speak to all teachers. I'll ensure that no injustice is done. My point is, will you actually ensure that not one of the teachers has to give back the salary for the last 9 years that they have got along with interest? Will you be spending money from the state government's own coffers and the chief minister's own fund? Because the BJP is saying you should do it.
Well, Shreya, good evening. What has happened yesterday, the verdict which has come from the Supreme Court, earlier it was in the High Court, and the High Court has given the same verdict, and it has been passed to the Supreme Court. And what Mamata Banerjee has shown her anguish about the verdict, which she showed that it was unacceptable to her, but she has a due respect, and everyone has a due respect for the judiciary. But Shreya, I must say there are the two sides of the coin. There are two sides of the coin. One is political and one is a humanitarian ground. If you look into a political scenario, if we are going to backlash the BJP on this, that what we have done earlier also, it will be a blame game for them. Let's see what exam has happened, the biggest admission exam, which is conducted by NTA, National Testing Agency of the NEET. And you say the two states, Haryana and the Gujarat, where most bogus exam has happened, and both ruled by the BJP. So it is not about alleging any political party for this. If Mamata Banerjee's government's minister has committed any kind of discrepancy, manipulative fraud, or any kind of thing, what he has done, he is behind the bar. He is behind the bar, and I am just answering your question about what Mamata Banerjee has done. This case was being totally scrutinized by the CBI, and CBI has submitted with a proper stats, a proper survey has been done that who are get jobs through the money and who are the peoples who genuinely get. But that was the anguish what Mamata Banerjee is telling. Those corrupt through the wrong way they have come for the attending the job. The Supreme Court should bifurcate those who get the job through the money and those who got the job genuinely after giving an exam. That is the point what Mamata Banerjee is telling. So it's an answer for you that the
No, but the
CBI
Supreme Court is also saying, na, Asif Ansari ji, the Supreme Court of India is also saying that those who are clean can sit for the test again.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
But what? Yes, the Supreme Court is telling let exams to happen again. But the thing is that what Mamata Banerjee minister has done, he is behind the bar. If he has done, the court is on the trial. It is
Mr.
sub
Ansari,
judice
don't
case,
keep
and
saying
it is
Mamata
going.
Banerjee is minister, Mamata Banerjee is minister. The fact is, if your education minister is corrupt to the teeth, and he has been a close aide of yours for a very long time, Mr. Asif Ansari, I refuse to believe that Mamata Banerjee didn't have a clue of what Mr. Partha Chatterjee was doing. ये तो कोई भी नहीं विश्वास करेगा, Mr. Ansari. आप last minute तक उसको defend कर रहे थे.
No, Shreya ji, if
Till
it will be
50
if you
crores
take
were
it
found
into
in
a
cash
political, if you
at
take it
Arpita's
into a
house.
political aspect, if you talk in a political aspect, that the NTA, that National Test Agency, fall under the HRD, that is Human Resource Development. It's come in the Ministry of Education. What that Education Department has done in the NEET exam, the Haryana and the Gujarat, both the place which is run by the BJP ruled government, none of the people has been brought to the justice. Nobody has been brought to the justice yet. How the other party?
नहीं तो
how
आप
the
कह रहे हैं essentially what you are saying, sir.
This is my
ठीक
question.
है,
How
but
they are
essentially
alleging
what you are saying
if
is,
this kind of discrepancy has happened.
ठीक है,
The
Mike,
court will take the action for that.
So
We
this is
are
what you
not
are saying.
supporting the corrupt. Shreya ji, we are not supporting the corrupt. Not the Mamata Banerjee is supporting the corrupt. She has sent the minister on the outright time to the jail. And Mr. Partha Chatterjee has been behind the bar for the 2 years, and the rigorous things are going on.
She
There
has
is
not
nothing
sent him to jail. The CBI
There is
has sent him to
nothing-
jail. Number two, sir, essentially is your argument that because there was ghapla in NEET in Gujarat and Haryana, that there was some degree of corruption involved there.
No, I am not justifying.
So what, there was corruption
Two
here in West
wrong things
Bengal as
cannot
well.
be justified. Two wrong things cannot
So you're
be
saying ये
justified.
नहीं वहाँ भी तो
If
हुआ
the
तो यहाँ भी
political
हुआ
party,
ठीक है.
In a humanitarian ground, if you say in a humanitarian ground, what see the Supreme Court has done, they sacked the 26,000 teachers. Out of 26,000 teachers, 11,610 teachers are there who teaches for class 9 and 10. 5,096 teachers who teaches for class 11 and 12. These are the elementary and the foundation level of education. When the judge could have understand that the party, if it is influenced by any of the political parties, then they are ruining the foundation part of education of the Bengal. That is the allegation for the TMC.
Okay, Kabir Shankar Bose essentially समझ गए. So essentially Kabir Shankar Bose, the charge of the TMC is that the BJP, the left, the Supreme Court of India, all are targeting West Bengal's education system. The charge is that.
Right. Shreya, we are not here to tell the Supreme Court how to do its job. Let's not get into that. That's gross contempt. We have to respect the Supreme Court as an institution and the majesty of that institution. Time and again, we've seen the court do justice, and we have to believe in the system. Otherwise, the system fails, our country fails. So people who are saying the Supreme Court should have done this, the Supreme Court, let's respect their judgment. We have a judgment in front of us. Let's debate on the judgment. Let's not go on what happened in Vyapam, what happened in Gujarat. No. This is by far the most damning indictment of the Mamata government, number one. Number two, the Supreme Court, its conscience, did not even see that part that it could hold itself back from not ordering refund of salaries received. The Supreme Court has gone to the extent of saying refund the salaries. That means the corruption hit at the root of it, Shreya, where the entire process from the root is vitiated. Quite rightly, all the jobs have gone because the process is vitiated. Now, Mamata Banerjee has to take moral responsibility. Can today she wash her hands of say, oh, my minister is in jail, I don't know this. No, Shreya, this doesn't happen. She plays a dual role. She plays the role of a Supremo of Trinamool Congress, and she plays the role of a chief minister. Somewhere she has to step down. Somewhere she has to take the moral responsibility. Is she going to do that? No, she's not going to do that. And in gross contempt of the Supreme Court, she comes on TV and says, in media, live and says, I do not accept the judgment of the court. Now, if this is the law and order situation in West Bengal, where a constitutional authority like the Chief Minister of the state says, I do not accept the judgment of the highest court of the country, there's something rotten in that state, Shreya, and therefore there's a complete breakdown of the constitutional machinery in that state, which is a serious, serious problem which the people of West Bengal are facing. It needs to be addressed.
Tehseen Poonawalla, what exactly did Mamata Banerjee expect the Supreme Court to do? Every evidence on paper and on television and otherwise is showing that rampant corruption has taken place, that the education minister and his acolytes have taken money, have taken bribes in exchange for giving people jobs as government teachers and teaching staff. So there's all that evidence, right? There are all those eyewitnesses. There are 50 crore rupees we have seen coming out of Arpita Chatterjee's residence as well. What was the Supreme Court supposed to do? Corruption to hua na, Tehseen?
Absolutely.
Corruption hua. And now the Supreme Court feels that the entire process was so vitiated that it is beyond salvaging. Bleeding heart kyun hoga Supreme Court for people who actually paid a bribe to get a job?
There are two, again, aspects to the whole issue. No one's denying corruption happened. Nobody is denying those should be punished. One, I heard what the Honorable Chief Minister of West Bengal said. She said on a personal level, she does not agree with the judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court. Now, that is the right to dissent is a fundamental right. Even the Supreme Court has said it, that its judgment is not infallible. The majesty of the court has to be upheld. Second, the standard of justice must be equal across the nation, one justice. And therefore, the criticism of Yapam versus West Bengal, where both cases corruption happened, whereas in Yapam people committed suicide, is a relevant question. Why won't those appointments cancelled there completely? So there must be an equal judicial standard as well as a legal standard. Who's denying it? Now comes the next question. If 4,000 people have done something wrong, even if the system is vitiated, are we going to punish the 20,000 innocent people? Have we turned around a legal maxim? Ultimately, the legal maxim is nobody innocent should be punished. Now we've turned it around that everybody is guilty until we find the innocent, and the innocent will also be punished. Is that the legal maxim in our country? If we are, then how are we different from other countries which are not democracies? The legal maxim must be upheld at all costs. What happens to those 20,000 people? So now we will have to have a legal recourse to this, whether it is through review, through an ordinance, and later on through the assembly. We will have to get a solution. Look, I'm saying this with a lot of respect, and I'm going to go back to 2G. With respect to the Honorable Supreme Court, they cancelled all 2G licenses, destroying the Indian economic situation. Ultimately, not a single person was convicted. Not a single person was convicted. The judge said, I'm waiting for evidence, but the entire telecom sector got destroyed. I'm not saying wrong thing didn't happen, but what happened? You cancelled all the licenses. So please let us understand policy and implementation of policy are different issues. You may find faults in implementation of policies. You can't and shouldn't be cancelling government policy because of implementation of policy. There are two separate issues and we must focus on that. Never lose sight of that.
Okay, I think we've heard all sides of the argument. I'm going to wrap the debate here and see how this goes, whether the West Bengal government actually goes to the Supreme Court for a review. And
30
whether...
seconds, please. 30 seconds.
Very quickly,
please.
20 seconds.
Okay, 20 seconds. The first and foremost thing is that this is no victim card playing, which Tehseen and Ansari ji are doing. Because it's Mamata Banerjee's and only Mamata Banerjee is responsible, because earlier when the lower court, single bench, when they only wanted to discontinue 8,000 jobs, it was Mamata Banerjee's government which went to Supreme Court, which went to High Court, and it is them, for them, this 26,000 people along with their families are now, their future is at stake. So no point in playing the victim card now. Okay. And the difference between Vyapam and Mamata Banerjee's job scam is that it's Madhya Pradesh government, the then Madhya Pradesh government, which handed over the investigations to CBI on its own. Whereas Mamata Banerjee tried to stall it from the very first day. It is only the court monitored investigation which is going on.
That doesn't make a difference.
Thank you.
चोरी चोरी होती है किया जी, चोरी चोरी होती है. Whether the chor has himself
We
handed
are
over,
not defending.
the investigation to the CBI, or the
Kamalnath ji
court
said
has
during his
handed
18
it over,
months
chori
tenure
chori hoti
in
hai.
the Madhya Pradesh
Haan.
government assembly. We are not defending. Bharatiya Janata Party, we are not defending
leave it
any
there.
thieves, any corrupt, any people. Unlike Mamata Banerjee,
Okay.
who went to the Supreme Court
Okay.
to put a stay so that none of the people associated with the job scams could be interrogated. Tehseen is a lawyer, Kabir is a
Okay.
lawyer. Ask Kabir.
Okay.
If I'm sure he
You know
has
what
the
she has
facts.
said. What she
Shreya,
has
for
said is
Vyapam, we had
also
gone to
ठीक है किया जी हो गया.
We had gone to court for Vyapam. We
Yeah,
had gone to court.
and the
That's
point
when
is Mamata
it was
Banerjee has
handed
said
over.
something far more provocative.
Shivraj Singh had gone
Sure,
on
she
its,
said something far more
on his own.
provocative. She said one Chief Justice of India says one thing and the other Chief Justice of India says another thing, and so you can understand what I'm trying to say, essentially pointing a finger at the court itself. I wonder whether the court will take that kindly at all, if at all. But Kiya Ghosh, we leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much. Kavi Shankar Bose,
Absolutely.
good to have you on the show. Thank you. Asif Ansari, thank you very much. And Tehseen, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, a wrap from me. Thanks for watching.